Ready and go. All right. Welcome to our Facebook Live VIP Circle Q&A with registered dietitian Heather Borders from Kailo Nutrition. She's joining us. Heather, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing great. I'm excited about this conversation.
Super excited.
Absolutely. Lots of people having questions about their nutrition, especially in this stressful time. And hopefully you can provide some insight and some actionable tips for people to kind of take hold of what's been happening inside the privacy of their own home.
I know.
And I'm sure it's a shared experience amongst all of us. I know easily in the last 3 weeks I've put on 10 pounds because of the snack.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's full disclosure. I'm an open book, but I went running. I've been working out, so I feel good. We'll work on that. But let me do a quick intro and let you all know about Heather, and then she can talk a little bit more about her background and her business at Kailo Nutrition. So Heather, known Heather about a year, 2 years or so. She's a registered dietitian. Her business is Kailo Nutrition. She is the program director for the Jack's Chamber South Council. Awesome group. Join them, please. Look them up. And she's also, get this, she's also the 2019 Small Business Leader of the Year for South Council, which is incredible that we can have her nutrition and business expertise here at our disposal. Heather? Yes. I don't know if I did you any justice there, but go ahead and let them know a little bit more about you.
Yes, no, thank you so much. And yes, I can't believe it's been well over a year, probably 2 years since we met. So yeah, I like to say that I'm a recovering engineer. I started off my career in aerospace engineering and did my time at Johnson Space Center. And I moved here to Jacksonville in 2007 to take a job with a medical device company. And actually halfway through the time there, my husband's cholesterol was out of control. It was over 300. His triglycerides were over 300. And even though he was thin, obviously that's not a healthy situation. And so he really didn't want to go on medication. And so we just started to look for ways to bring down his cholesterol without using medication. And that kind of brought us to nutrition. And that was in 2011. And so we started experimenting with new foods, adding a lot of more fiber to our diet, and made quite a hard right with our dietary lifestyle. And that was kind of the beginning of not just a dietary change, but also a career change. So I started doing cooking classes while I was still working full time. And people would come to me and say their glucose was lower, their blood pressure is lower, they were obviously losing weight, starting to feel good, and I really just didn't have anything to tell them because I didn't, I wasn't a healthcare provider at that time. So I knew that was something meaningful, and I knew that's something I wanted to get involved with. So I went back to school and I became a registered dietitian. And so I have since, I counsel patients, but I have a real focus on the culinary world because we can talk about food all we want, but if we don't know how to buy it, if we don't know what we're looking for in the store, and if we don't know how to prepare it, much less do so in a way that's efficient, that doesn't make us a slave to our kitchen, and then probably most importantly, the food has to taste good, then it's all for moot. Like it won't work. And so my business is called Kailo Nutrition. That's Kailo Nutrition. And it's divided into 3 areas. So it's counseling, where we do one-on-one nutrition counseling. We have community nutrition programs, which would be something like this. I also do corporate lunch and learns, grocery store tours, in-person cooking classes, and then I have a culinary component as well. So for those of you that just don't have a lot of time or much interest in cooking, myself or my chef will come to your home. We'll prepare all your food in your home for the week. package it up, and then leave it in the fridge. So totally custom. We're in and out of your kitchen in 3 hours, and sitting down with you to understand what your goals are. So that's where I'm at right now.
That's awesome. I definitely learned a few things. I didn't know you worked at Johnson Space Center. That you were
Yeah.
That is fantastic. And you also have a chef? Is that
yeah.
amazing? Amazing.
She's
And
not
especially,
my personal chef, but
well, maybe she should be. Maybe we get her cooking some food for us. That would be tremendous.
yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that with the group. I'm keeping an eye on Facebook Live. You guys on there, if you have questions, please post them. So let's just talk about the environment that we're in right now with pandemic. People are home, stress, high levels of stress, and then, easy access to the refrigerator and the cupboards. What things should people be mindful about right now in terms of their nutrition and not only eating healthy foods but feeling good, like stress reduction and feeling good? Let's start there.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about weight loss at some point, but that's not really the focus with the people that I'm talking to. But let's just talk about feeling good and feeling better as far as where we're at right now.
Absolutely. So obviously there's, I'm sure your listeners and followers come from, they're in different places in their life, younger, older, working, not working, kids, no kids. So, this spans all of that. Some of it will be easier than others to implement depending on their life situation. But I would say in no particular order, some of the things people can do would be things like prioritizing sleep. So whatever people can do to, make yourself tired, have a routine, try to, dim the lights, make it cool, whatever's comfortable for you, whether it's take a bath or a shower beforehand. There's a lot of wonderful free apps now on meditation, like guided meditation, things like Calm or Insight Timer. And what's great about them is that they have things for less than 5 minutes. So it's not like you have to sit on top of a mountaintop and close your eyes and find Zen. You can just sit in your bedroom or wherever it's comfortable and take 5 minutes to just breathe. And whatever routine you need to do to kind of protect your sleep. And I know I'm guilty of this too, but whatever we can do to limit our screen time, a good half hour to hour before our sleep is ideal. That really plays a role in disrupting sleep. Minimizing alcohol, especially before sleep if possible, because that's very disruptive. But sleep doesn't get enough street cred for lifestyle, and it is huge to our stress. When we sleep, we actually release molecules and components that scour our body for cancer to keep that at a minimum. So when we don't get enough sleep, we don't have enough time for our bodies to do that. So it is a very active time. So I would say sleep. I'm sure one of your favorites is activity. And
no, actually, the first one, sleep. Yeah, definitely at the top of the list.
So whatever we can do to move. And, I admit that in the past, I've been someone that didn't feel like I had a good workout unless I was sweating and I took an hour. And over the last several years, as you know, being an entrepreneur, it's very easy to hide behind the hustle and not get that in. And what I found is I don't need to do that in order to help my body. Just a simple thing as walking. I started walking 3 miles. I used to run, but now I find that if I just walk, that's good. Like, I mean, it's different, but it feels good. It makes me tired. It gives me time to think. Whether you're someone that wants to check out and listen to music. I've lately started to use that time to listen to podcasts, or really just listen to silence and just, get out of your head. So whether it's walking, riding a bike, even gardening, whatever it takes to kind of move, that really is such a stress reliever. It also helps with sleep, and it also, is good for our bones and our heart and our mind. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sleep and activity, in whatever form that looks like for you, whatever level you're at, whatever makes you feel good. Those are great suggestions. Now we had a post, I believe it was yesterday, about the number one struggle that people had with their nutrition.
Yeah.
A lot of people just diving headfirst right into it. I know, it was awesome. It was
great. It was great.
So the question was, what's your number one struggle with nutrition? Very general question, but lots of people chimed in. Mm-hmm. Give me just a quick takeaway from that post, Heather.
Yeah. So there are a lot of different answers, but none that I would say are very surprising. You're very common. If I were to generalize, I would say that there were some comments kind of repeated about, maybe they, let's see, I'm seeing some posts on the Facebook group, so maybe I'll steal from that. But a lot of people either eat all day, or they snack, or they have some cravings at night, things like that. And so we want to make sure that we're actually getting enough calories, and and we want to make sure we're eating foods that keep us full. So cravings are real, but we want to make sure that we're kind of separating that from a craving versus you're hungry because you didn't eat enough. And so there are some really great fiber-rich foods out there that tend to keep us full. And foods like beans, foods like starchy vegetables like potatoes or butternut squash, root vegetables, beets, carrots, things like that. And even whole intact grains, things like quinoa or brown rice or farro. All of these things are incredibly low calorie, low fat, low sodium, no cholesterol, and yet they have so much fiber that they not only get us full, but they keep us full. And so if any of those foods are something that you enjoy but have gotten away from, or want to, look to try and add to every meal in some way, that could be helpful for making sure that you get full and stay full, and potentially curb some cravings after your meal, so you're not getting hungry again. And the other thing I would say is, if we don't plan, that's when things go south. So what I would hope to do over the course of the next month or two with your folks is to kind of get a plan in place, and that's going to be different for everybody because everyone has a different life. But once we have an idea of what it is we want to do, then we have a game plan, and we can figure out ways to execute that. We can troubleshoot potential barriers ahead of time, so that when things happen that might throw us off, we have a plan B or a plan C. So, planning is really huge, and that's just a routine that's, we can get into. So.
Excellent. A little teaser of things to come down the road here. Actually, Deb on the Facebook Live asked, I eat well all day and then get stressed or bored at night and snack a lot. Suggestions. So kind of touching on what you just said, what are you doing during the day? What are your food choices? What are your sources during the day to keep you satiated and full throughout the day? Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah. Part of it is just what are we eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and making sure that it has fiber. And that's natural fiber. So, Metamucil kind of thing plays its role when we're constipated, but, for a sustainability type thing, we want to make sure that we're eating high fiber foods. And that's going to at least play a part in keeping us full. It may not, get rid of all the cravings. That's a different story. But it may kind of be that dividing line between you're snacking because you're hungry, or you're snacking because it's a habit, or there's some cravings there. So
as you are talking, Heather, I am diligently taking notes and putting them in the Facebook chat so people can remember these key points that you're sharing with us.
yes.
So that they can go back, and especially on the replay, they can go back to this. Okay, so thank you so much for commenting on that post. Now, you have 3 actionable steps that people can implement and apply into their life right now to start improving their nutrition. So did you want to share that with us now?
Sure. So the 3 actionable steps were along the lines of goal setting is the way I would say it, because that's really truly the first step. So basically the first one is to define outcome goals and behavior goals. So outcome goals would be something along the lines of, I want to lose 10 pounds in 6 months, whatever that may be. Something physical based, or I want to lower my cholesterol by so many points in so much time. They could be medication based. So, you want to eliminate a certain medication within a certain amount of time. So we have to have that outcome goal first to know why we're even doing this. What is it that we're doing this for? Making behavior based goals. So let's just pick on weight because it's the easiest one. If someone wants to lose weight, well, there's some behavior goals that need to happen. And so defining what those outcome and behavior goals are would be the first step. Behavior-based goals are, what do you want to change in order to reach your outcome goals? I'm always a big fan of add-in philosophy. So this kind of pairs with the second goal, which is to determine what foods you want to add in to your life. So often when we make lifestyle changes, we want to go straight to eliminating or minimizing behaviors. Like, I want to stop drinking soda or stop eating out. Well, that's great, but you're going to have to replace that with something. So instead of immediately going there, why don't we go to, I need to add fruit into my life. I love fruit, but I got away from it. It's super easy. I enjoy it. So what foods, fiber-rich foods, so this is going to be things like fruits, beans, vegetables, whole grains, those fiber-rich foods, have you gotten away from, but you enjoy, and would be an easy addition to your daily life? And so, again, number 1, define your objective, your outcome-based goals. Number 2, your behavior-based goals. And I would say adding in is kind of key. And then the last one would be, our life change. I mean, this is like case in point right now. Our life and our schedule changes all the time. No one thought we would be doing this right now. But this will be over. One way or another, come apocalypse or high water. It's coming over. And
That's good news.
Yeah, and we're all going to head back to normalcy. But for now, we're in isolation. So to look at this next week in its unique and individual schedule and map out blocks of time where it exists, okay? So you might have 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here, or even an hour over here, but where on your schedule next week, not a month from now, but next week, you have blocks of time, and then plan for putting in those behavior-based goals. So if you decided that you were going to eat a piece of fruit 4 days a week, that doesn't really take too much planning, but think about it. What days are they going to happen? What meals are they going to happen at? What do you need to go call Instacart, or are you going to go to the store and get it? What do you need to do in order to make that happen? As people start getting more sophisticated and saying like, okay, I'm going to plan to cook dinner twice a week next week, well, what needs to happen in order to do that? And what time frames are you going to do that in? Whether it's pre-cooking or cooking at the time of. So in review, define your goals, because we have to know why we're doing this. Map out a schedule for the week that's coming up and determine where open time blocks exist for exercise, cooking, planning, whatever it is you want to do. And then think of a fiber-rich food group that you enjoy but haven't been eating, and it would be an easy add-in strategy to kickstart any new lifestyle change.
I love it. I love it. Those are great, great actionable suggestions. Guys, take advantage of that. Start looking at your following week, where you're going to make that time to work on your behavior-based goals, okay? All of it's in the chat, so you can review back to it. If you have questions on Facebook Live, please post them. We have a question, Heather, from Danielle, who asked, what are some suggestions to help curb sugar cravings?
Okay. So this is definitely a loaded question that would probably take quite a bit of time to provide a thorough answer. But I'll try to be very short. If there's sugar cravings, then that means there's a sugar adaptation, I guess I would say, where your body's used to having it. So basically, you have to give your body a break in order for it to stop happening, which means that hurts. Sugar may be different than alcohol or heroin, but not really. So it's going to hurt when you take it away. But when you take it away, 2-3 weeks, and the cravings do go away. That's the short, unfortunate answer. Now, in reality, one of the things you can do, obviously, is to baby step it down. Depending on what sugar cravings are happening, fruit can actually be very sweet. And as we start to transition from added sugar type cravings to natural sugar type foods, hopefully our body will adjust over time. But how quickly is kind of hard to say. That's a very crude kind of answer to that. There's a lot of details in that, including, going back to the why and goals. Because any lifestyle change is going to be difficult, and we better have a really good emotional reason to make changes when it's going to hurt. You can a strategy, that one could implement is, if you're really craving something, whether it's salty or sweet, just something unhealthy, eat it with something healthy. So if you want a candy bar, eat it with an apple or some fruit. Eat it with, whatever makes sense. If you wanted, potato or beans with it, that sounds bizarre. But, something, again, with high fiber, eat it, pair it with something that is high calorie dense and, added sugar or added fat and salt. So adding in is always going to be key. So I would start there. I'd probably eat whatever you want with a piece of fruit.
Wow, that is an interesting recommendation.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. I'm into behavior modification. So the idea of taking something away and sitting in that discomfort and allowing the adaptation of that to become normal is always fascinating to me. Not usually people's first choice, but ultimately that's where we arrive in order to, move away from, as we're talking about sugar cravings, the sugar cravings and things like that. So awesome. Danielle says, interesting, cool, sounds like a good idea to start. There you go. And Danielle, you're in the VIP circle. So Heather will be joining us next week as well, as we get into sort of what's happening moving forward inside the VIP circle starting next week. Heather will be joining us, and in particular, Monday evening, we haven't set a time yet, but Monday evening, April 6th, we are going to do another live Q&A, and Heather is going to join us to talk more about nutrition. So guys in the circle, set a reminder for that. And then outside of the circle, this will be posted on my personal Facebook. Heather's also going to share it out. Please comment below. I will add you to the group so that you can be part of the conversation. We've got some very exciting things happening next week with Heather to talk about nutrition. And just remember, Kailo Nutrition. Heather, you want to tell them just one more time about Kailo Nutrition?
Sure. So
how can they find you? How can they find you?
Yep. So the website is www.kailonutrition.com, and Kailo is Kailo. So there's that. I am very social, so I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Kailo Nutrition. I have a Facebook group called Kailo Crew, CREW. Overall, we have programs. I do personal nutrition counseling. In addition to my office at Jack's Beach, we can do telehealth as well. I have a HIPAA compliant telehealth platform. And community programs, once we're allowed to see each other in person, we can go to the grocery store, cooking classes, and maybe even in person, Ron and I can get something together. And then,
yes.
And then lastly, we have a culinary program. So if anybody's interested, we can go to the home, cook some food, and make sure that you have a lot of healthy, delicious meals available for the week. When you're looking at your schedule and you look at next week and you say, oh my God, there's like no time blocks whatsoever, but I want to follow, I want to keep moving forward on my health goals, that would be a good week to give us a call. So my number is 904-250-0910.
Awesome. Awesome. So many ways to get in touch with Heather. If you're still trying to figure that out, let me know. I will put you in direct touch with her. So again, we're in the middle of our 21-day VIP Unbreakable Challenge as we head into the last week. So the last week, the final week of the 21-day challenge, we've got Heather joining us inside the VIP circle. If you're not in the group, please comment below in the video and I will add you to the group. And then don't forget, Monday, April 6th in the evening at some point, we will let everybody know. I'll get the time out to everybody, but we're going to have Heather again for another Q&A. So as we get closer to Monday, get those questions going. We'll talk a little bit more too, Heather, about the #1 struggle post and some of the things that kind of jumped out. Maybe we'll dissect that a little bit. That should be fun.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Heather, thank you so much for joining all of us here and sharing your knowledge and helping us in this time. Everybody, appreciate you checking out this Facebook Live. Again, if you have questions, post them below. Even once it's up and posted, we can still get the notifications and come back to it, circle back to it, which I'm going to do once we hop off of here. But you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday. It's Thursday afternoon, and we will talk to you soon, okay? You guys take care.